Welcome. Today we're undertaking, a fascinating and often pretty unsettling journey through the world of Michael Cohen. It's all based on his raw, first-person account, Disloyal, a memoir.
Right. And this comes from the man who, famously declared he'd take a bullet for Donald Trump, only to later become, his most vocal critic. He even calls himself a traitor.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack Cohen's narrative. We want to understand his evolution, from that devoted acolyte to adversary, and explore the specific events, the insights he shares about Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, and the 2016 campaign.
What's interesting is how Cohen presents his story. It's not just a simple tell-all. He frames it more as a cautionary tale, reflecting on his own complicity and what he actually calls the Faustian bargain he made. That classic idea of trading principles for power or maybe wealth.
He takes us right from his childhood on Long Island into the corridors of power and all the way to his imprisonment and then the decision to write this book. It really offers a compelling lens to look at the dynamics of power, loyalty, deception, especially when someone's so deep inside it all.
Okay, so let's start where Cohen does, right at the beginning, with his own origins. He describes a childhood marked by ambition, lemonade stands, other little ventures early on, but also growing up around his Uncle Morty's mob-affiliated catering hall, the El Caribe.
Right, the El Caribe. That seems significant in his telling.
Yeah, he says he absorbed lessons there on loyalty, friendship, and omerta, the mafia code of silence. He even recounts this pivotal incident when he was 15. Saw a shooting, was told, listen, kid, you're one of us. You saw nothing, you know nothing. And then he got paid for being loyal. He admits he felt a deep attraction to that kind of strong, ruthless, tribal loyalty. He even accepted gifts like a leather jacket from these guys. Learned he couldn't say no. So how did these early experiences, the ones he chronicles in Disloyal, how do they maybe shape his moral compass later? Or make him susceptible to someone like Trump?
Well, his account draws a pretty clear line, doesn't it? Between those early experiences and then getting tangled up with Trump. What's really insightful, I think, is how that childhood exposure to omerta, where loyalty was everything and it got rewarded, it seems like it created this powerful psychological blueprint for him.
Like it primed him.
Exactly. It suggests his later immersion in Trump's world wasn't a completely new moral landscape for him. It was maybe more like a hypercharged, high-stakes echo of that early ruthless loyalty. Made him kind of uniquely ready for that all-for-Trump mentality. He even says all that mattered was money and power, much like in the Trump Organization. He describes meeting Trump in 2006, calls it a midlife crisis. He was just a lawyer doing paper-pushing drone work, as he puts it.
He'd bought units in Trump Park Avenue, Trump World Tower. Don Jr. brings him to meet his father. And immediately, Trump lies to him about the apartment purchase. Says Cohen got a great deal.
Even though he paid full price.
Cohen writes, within the first few seconds of our meeting, Donald Trump had lied to me directly, demonstrably, and without doubt.
You'd think that would be a red flag.
You would. But instead, it seemed to set the stage for this irresistible, intoxicating, thrilling pull towards Trump. He says he worshipped him.
That's quite a statement. Worshipped. Okay, so digging deeper here, Cohen quickly becomes Trump's fixer, taking on tasks, like you said, way beyond traditional legal stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about the Trump World Tower dispute, orchestrating a campaign to oust the condo board, even hiring, as you mentioned, muscle-bound men to park crowds for Trump's entrance.
Yeah.
Cohen called that real power. And then they're shutting down Trump mortgage. This one's really telling. Cohen admits, even though he's an officer of the court sworn to uphold that law, he enthusiastically raided the office, fired people.
And celebrated afterwards.
Yes. Celebrated with colleagues, giggling about how hard-assed they'd been to this, quote, essentially defenseless man. He flat-out says, I was a willing accomplice more. I was an eager participant.
Wow.
These actions show how deep he was in Trump's world. But Cohen also uses specific business deals to reveal what he calls Trump's essential foolishness and that ruinous and relentless need to always win.
Yeah, and his memoir really pushes us to ask, how did he rationalize all this? Cohen says, in a matter of a couple of months, I had started falling under the spell of Donald Trump. The question no longer was what I would do for Trump. The question was what I wouldn't do.
He was all in.
Completely. He gives this really vivid account of acquiring Patricia Cluge's Albemarle estate. Trump sees she's in financial trouble, buys a right of first refusal on adjacent land for just $500,000, exploiting her adopted son's weakness. And then, Cohen says, with brutal logic, Trump puts up no trespassing signs, lets the grass grow wild, all to devalue the main property.
Intentionally driving the price down.
Exactly. And the craziest part, Trump apparently threatened to build a massive 20-foot concrete wall with Trump Winery painted every 20 feet right in front of her mansion if the bank didn't sell him the house cheap.
A concrete wall. Seriously.
That's what Cohen writes. Trump ended up getting the whole $100 million estate for less than $13 million. And Cohen notes, Kluge seemed to think Trump had actually done her a favor. Then there's the Doral paint scam. Trump specified cheap, low-quality, superhide paint for renovations, then demanded a full refund from Benjamin Moore, blaming them when the paint performed poorly.
Even though he chose the cheap stuff.
Right. Cohen knew the truth, but says he bluffed and raged for Trump and eventually got the refund. He reflects, I hated myself for what I did, even as I did it, but that didn't stop me. So Cohen portrays these not just as shrewd deals, but as these calculated psychological campaigns designed to break opponents, seize opportunities.
Yeah.
Really Machiavellian stuff, pushing past ethical lines just to win.
It's hard to fathom, especially for an officer of the court, how you justify that internally. The pressure must have been immense, and it didn't stop at business. His role quickly bled into sensitive political operations, particularly what he calls catch and kill, or sometimes catch, kill, and twist operations.
Right, managing potentially damaging stories.
Yeah, Cohen claims Trump saw anything harming his brand. He even just claims he wasn't as rich as he pretended, as worse than calling him a sexual predator.
Worse than sexual predator claims?
Right.
Wow.
That's Cohen's claim. He saw himself as the insider, managing the chaos, burying the truth. He talks about an early incident with David Pecker at the National Enquirer about Jill Harth's sexual assault allegations against Trump. Pecker apparently offered a sanitized and abbreviated version.
The catch and kill playbook in action.
Exactly. Cohen also details his own involvement in birtherism, that narrative about Obama's birthplace. He calls it Trump's most successful early big lie gambits.
And he admits playing a role.
Oh, yeah. He recounts hiring John Gauger from Liberty University to buy bots to manipulate online polls for Trump.
So manipulating polls, handling scandals. He was deep in it. How far did this loyalty actually go? Did it touch every part of his life, even his family? Cohen describes it as a total mind meld. He says he started to believe my own lies, just like Trump. He talks about his actions in the 2016 campaign, helping manufacture that fake news story about Ted Cruz's father being with Lee Harvey Oswald. He claims Trump's reaction to the mock-up was just holy fun.
He takes credit or blame for that.
He does. He calls it a blood libel of mind-boggling audacity and thinks it contributed to Cruz losing the Indiana primary. Calls it a gangster tactic. He also discloses handling that pool boy scandal for Jerry Falwell Jr. and his wife Becky, where lurid photos were being threatened.
And the payoff.
In return for getting the lawsuit dismissed, silencing the pool boy, Cohen says he secured Falwell's crucial endorsement for Trump.
A direct quid pro quo.
That's how he presents it. He even describes delivering Miss Brazil and Miss Germany to Trump's lair at an after-party, knowing that Trump might hook up with them. He calls it plausible deniability.
What about the personal cost you mentioned?
Yeah, what's really poignant is his claim that his own kids, especially his daughter Samantha, were just appalled by the Trump family's behavior. He says Samantha would ask him daily, "Did you quit today?"
Wow, that reflects a huge personal cost for that loyalty. Okay, so Disloyal also gets into the whole Russia connection, which became so huge later. Cohen describes Trump wanting a Moscow project for a long time, admiring Putin.
Yeah, viewing Putin as a ruler, a dictator who could run a nation like his personal company.
And Cohen details the letter of intent for Trump Tower Moscow. Signed in September 2015, promised Trump $4 million up front, potentially hundreds of millions later, and crucially, no money down for Trump.
Right, while Trump was running for president.
And Cohen notes, Trump denied knowing Felix Sater, the businessman involved.
But Cohen says Sater offered a sweetener.
Yeah, a free condo worth $50 million to Putin personally as a sweetener. That's a direct quote from the book.
Wow.
Cohen also addresses the Steele dossier,
Right.
specifically the allegation he went to Prague. He states unequivocally, I have never been to Prague, says he showed his passport to Trump, Kushner, others to prove it.
So if Trump demanded this absolute unwavering loyalty, what did Cohen expect back? And how did that expectation eventually, just fall apart? Well, Cohen's memoir paints Trump's loyalty as strictly a one-way street. There was no reciprocity in his view.
Transactional, but only one way.
Exactly. And the final straw, according to Cohen, was the Stormy Daniels payment. October 2016, the Access Hollywood tape causes that shitstorm, as he calls it. Daniels' story pops back up.
Right, terrible timing for the campaign.
So after a lot of back and forth, Cohen personally wires $130,000 to Daniels' lawyer, Keith Davidson, for the NDA. And he's very clear. Trump knew about it, explicitly authorized it.
Okay.
But after Trump wins, Cohen expects to be paid back, maybe with a nice bonus. He describes his anger getting his Christmas card that year and finding no payment, no bonus.
Just a card, after wiring $130K of his own money.
Seems so. Later, Alan Weisselberg offered to gross up the payment to $260,000 to cover taxes, but only as part of this plan to pay Cohen back in monthly installments, disguised as legal fees, over 12 months.
Disguised. Why?
Cohen says it was so Trump could get a tax deduction for legal fees.
So the reimbursement itself was structured potentially illegally?
That's Cohen's assertion. He notes his own conviction, his incarceration, stemmed directly from Trump's ingratitude and dishonesty in this whole affair.
The ultimate betrayal, in his eyes.
Absolutely. And he reveals another shocking detail. His initial probation terms included a ban on any engagement of any kind with the media, including print, TV, film, books, or any form of media news.
A gag order, basically.
Effectively, yes. An attempt, as Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein later ruled, to silence him specifically because of his desire to exercise his First Amendment rights to publish a book.
So the very act of writing Disloyal was something they tried to prevent.
It seems so. And that whole breakdown, the lack of loyalty, the legal fallout, that seems to be the core catalyst for him writing this memoir.
Michael Cohen's Disloyal, a memoir, really does pull back the curtain, doesn't it, on this world of, well, cutthroat business, intense political maneuvering, and a very, very particular brand of loyalty. From his descriptions of Trump's amoral will to win to those complex catch-and-twist operations, it's a real dive into the costs of that kind of unquestioning devotion and a complex web of motivations that can just, trap people. His journey as stark, eager fixer to convicted felon, now vocal critic. It's a powerful personal story, transformation, and reflection.
It is. And his account really leaves us with a profound thought to chew on. Cohen believes, quote, being president doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are. So after hearing his experiences detailed in Disloyal, maybe you can think about this. How might the lessons he learned about power's intoxicating allure, about truth getting distorted, about the very nature of loyalty, how might those apply beyond just these specific people and events, maybe to other areas of leadership or even personal ethics today? What really stands out to you about the price of that kind of unwavering loyalty, especially when, as Cohen claims, it just wasn't returned?